Joy News, we are independent, fearless, and credible. You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Samuel Kojo Brace. In our headlines, this are strong push by Attorney General to get the Chief Justice to frequently allow the live telecast of high-profile cases in the courts after the CJ accepted his request to broadcast the cases against the anti-LGBTQ bill.
If the media were to have full and unhindered access to proceedings and all, it becomes so clear to the general public that when rulings are given by the court, they're actually on account of principles of law, and indeed most of the rulings of the court are right.
We have details from a busy day in court where the Chief Justice exchanged words with lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament, Ofori-Atta, on a number of issues.
You can
hear me very well.
Yes, my lady.
You appreciate the pickle we are in.
Yes, my lady.
You filed an affidavit on the 15th of... Please hold on. Don't interrupt me. Please.
Yes, my lady.
Always wait for me to land.
I'm not going to say.
It appears the Cecilia Dapa case has created a wedge between the office of the Special Prosecutor, Ioko, and the Attorney General as cause for the government to address the corruption canker increases. But to what extent is this public's part frustrating the fight against corruption?
Ioko, in pursuance of that, wrote to the OSP asking for a copy of that report. Ioko did not receive any reply. To date, it has not received any reply.
But I also like to put on record that at no point in time has Ioko requested for a copy of the FBI report.
Now, there's a strong push to allow the live telecast of high-profile cases that go before the court to increase transparency. The Chief Justice accepted a recommendation by the Attorney General, Ofori-Atta, to allow a live telecast of cases filed against the anti-gay bill, two of which were at the Supreme Court Wednesday. Ofori-Atta says this is crucial in the interest of transparency. Member of our Legal Affairs Desk, Kweku Asante, has more from the Supreme Court, where the injunction applications against the anti-gay bill were caught up in technicalities and fiery exchange of words.
It was barely 24 hours for the Supreme Court to commence hearing. The Attorney General wrote to the Chief Justice asking for journalists to be allowed to broadcast proceedings because of the huge public interest in the case, a request the Chief Justice accepted. The courtroom was packed, and the huge public interest in the case was obvious. Sponsors of the bill expected that the court would decide on the two injunction applications, potentially paving way for Parliament to try again to serve the President with copies of the bill passed by the House for his assent. But there was an anticlimax. The substance of the injunction application were not even discussed. First, lawyers for Richard Delaskai had two applications.
Notice for an order for leave to amend the release. On our motion or notice for an order of interlocutory injunction filed on the 7th of March 2024.
Even before the lawyer would conclude his application, Ofori-Atta, a lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament, was on his feet in opposition.
Yeah, my lords, we have a preliminary point of law to take with regard to this particular application by way of an objection, and that would be the only ground upon which we would be dealing with this application. And yes, well, there are two ways. But it's actually
you gave no notice of
it. It is.
You gave no notice of it, did you?
Not by way of a formal application.
There was intense back and forth between Ofori-Atta and Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono, who presided over the panel.
Sorry.
No, my lady, I've got it right.
You can hear me very well.
Yes, my lady.
You appreciate the pickle we are in.
Yes, my lady.
You filed an affidavit on the 15th of... Please hold on. Don't interrupt me. Please.
Yes, my lady.
Always wait for me to land.
I'm not going to say it.
Your substantive application, affidavit before us, is dated the 2nd of April. Listen, let me land. If you had just waited to understand my words instead of rushing to justify yourself, you would have admitted that you didn't have a formal notice to object.
My lady, It is
a
clear.
person, a lawyer,
Yes,
like yourself, like
yes,
you found yourself muddled up this morning.
Oh,
yes, you have. A lawyer files. I can see what his difficulty is. When you read, you can see he left out some words. You chose to denigrate that what happened in his expressions by describing it as muddled and confused. And the man now wants to correct himself by expressing it fully. And you say you have a preliminary legal objection.
Yes, my lady.
Where is the legality?
Because, the legality lies in the fact that the motion paper invokes the jurisdiction of the court. And if there is an irregularity on the face of the motion paper, which I am pointing out as the foundation to which I am not accepting what he has found.
No, hold on.
Yes.
Which motion paper?
His motion for injunction.
The man is not seeking. Hold on.
Yes.
Whenever I start, stop.
Oh.
You are going to interrupt me.
Very well.
Then you wouldn't hear what I have to say.
Very well, Mali. That once there's an objection taken to it, you cannot overreach that objection with a proposal to amend.
Hold on.
So that's all I'm drawing the court's attention to.
Stop there, Mr. Stop there.
Yes,
Stop there. Now, if you had given a formal notice, anyone would have known. But in your affidavit, you only described your opinion.
No, what I found
That's not a preliminary legal objection.
Well, maybe it is not stated that it's stated as an opinion, but what I was stating what I found objectionable about it. And this court has also said that I don't even need that formal notice, that I can get up when he's about to move and take that preliminary objection. Trustees of the Synagogue Children of all nations. And the strain of them from the court that I didn't need.
Mr. Sorry, I'm not impressed by what you're doing.
Very well,
but just finish it.
I'm sorry. So,
finish it.
So I'm saying that
it's not fair to your friend. I don't think so. But you want to do it, do it.
I'm relying on the authorities from this court to take my preliminary objection, that I'm entitled to take it just when he's about to move it.
So just do it.
And my second point is that...
No, what is your first point?
The Attorney General was not opposed to the application of the lawyers. The court unanimously granted the prayer of lawyers for Richard Alaskai and allowed his application.
Our considered view is that the alleged preliminary objection is unnecessary and does not seek to assist any process before this court. Every party has an inherent right to present the appropriate formulation of their reliefs or other process before the court. The objection is dismissed.
As the court pleases, Fali.
You've taken our time and energy for nothing.
Then came the second case against the bill filed by researcher Dr. Amanda Odoi. Lawyers for Dr. Amanda Odoi raised objections against the language employed by Thaddeus Sori, a position the Chief Justice largely agreed with. But Thaddeus Sori says he had a reason for using such language.
It's necessary to say this. Mr. Sori, some of the material in your affidavit is extremely intemperate. I know they are not your affidavit, especially the affidavit of Mary Wendy Yeboah, which you have now withdrawn. Do well not to introduce such material.
I'm most grateful, my lady. Sometimes you respond to what comes from the other side. And that's the reason. But I'm taking cue. When they take a shot at you, you throw something back.
In this case also, the court ruled that Thaddeus Sori withdraws the process and file it again without the language the court described as temperate and inappropriate. Lawyers for Richard Alaskai say they are happy with how proceedings went, expressing support for the decision to allow the broadcast.
Our courts have nothing to hide, especially in this country. These constitutional matters are best placed in public domain so that everybody will hear and understand, to stop some of these speculations we have all around us. It puts an end to this making rounds of stories. We sound very strange.
Meanwhile, Attorney General and Minister for Justice Ofori-Atta says the courts must lean more towards allowing the live telecast of said constitutional cases with huge public interest.
If you recall, about 2 years ago, one of my speeches to the Ghana Bar Association actually made a point that indeed, if the media were to have full and unhindered access to proceedings and all, it becomes so clear to the general public that when rulings are given by the court, they're actually on account of principles of law, and indeed most of the rulings of the court are right. I have suffered a lot personally in terms of the misrepresentation of court rulings and deliberate misrepresentation of what I say in court and what I do and all that. So I thought that the best way to avoid any undue misrepresentation of fact is to ensure transparency.
The hope by the Speaker of Parliament and sponsors of the anti-LGBTQ bill that there would have been conclusion on the injunction applications filed to restrain the Speaker of Parliament in terms of transmitting the bills to the President to sign would have been resolved today, have now been dashed. The court will now have to set a new date to constitute the panel to hear them. But the Speaker of Parliament's lawyers, obviously on the floor, quite pressing so hard to get this case to progress without the need to adjourn. Reporting for Joy News, Kwiku Asante from the Supreme Court here in Accra.
Away from that, Polish manufacturers of the red train on the Tema-Mpakadan Railway are expected to fly into Ghana to conduct assessment and valuation of the damage. 4 persons are standing trial for the bizarre accident which occurred when the newly acquired train, which was on a test drive, ran into a parked truck on the railway. In court on Wednesday, the state argued that investigations have delayed because the manufacturers are yet to fly in to provide what is potentially the missing piece of the ongoing investigations.
The bizarre and curious case of train accident caused by a tracked pack on the Tema-Mpakadan Railway. The state is now pinning its hopes on the Polish authorities or Polish manufacturers who are expected to fly into Ghana to conduct an assessment and valuation of the damage caused by the train accident. In court on Wednesday, the lawyer representing the state, Christabel Selma Anafuri, made the argument that that particular aspect of the investigations is very critical to the ongoing case and prayed to the court for an adjournment for the necessary investigations to be done. Lawyers for the accused, on the other hand, Richard Lapo, made the argument that that aspect of investigations of assessment and valuation by the Polish manufacturers has no bearing on whether or not the court grants bail to his client. The sitting judge, Justice Lydia Mafu, after listening to both arguments, has granted bail up to the tune of 200,000 Ghana cedis with sureties on each of the 4 accused persons. They are also expected to report at the police station every Friday. An order has also been given to the state to furnish the court with all disclosures before or on the date of the recall, which is June 6th, 2024. From the Law Court Complex, Latif Idris reporting for Joy News.
Now, call it a turf war or personality clash, and you'll not be far from the truth. As the Attorney General and the leadership of the Economic and Organized Crime Organization, EOCO, clashed with the Office of the Special Prosecutor over issues of mandate, allegations of withholding of information and negligence of duty in the Cecilia Dapa stashed money saga. Here's a news desk report on the situation.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor on January 25, 2024 officially transferred investigation into the financial affairs and assets of former Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources Cecilia Dapa, along with their associates, to the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. The OSP stated that no direct and immediate evidence of corruption was found in the seized funds and frozen bank accounts linked to Ms. Dapa and her associates after nearly 7 months of extensive investigation by it and a parallel inquiry by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, of the United States of America. The office asked EOCO to investigate the former minister for money laundering. 3 months on, the Attorney General advised EOCO to discontinue the investigation, describing the OSP referral as baseless. Ofori-Atta and the Special Prosecutor's Office will take their private disagreement to the public space.
OSP alluded to collaborative investigations with the FBI, based on which it came by transfers from other jurisdictions into Ghana. So EOCO, in pursuance of that, wrote to the OSP asking for a copy of that report. EOCO did not receive any reply. To date, it has not received any reply. And that was way back on 1st February.
But I'd also like to put on record that at no point in time has EOCO requested for a copy of the FBI report. Really? We need to be very accurate. Let me also go ahead to say that even if Iyoko had requested for a copy of the FBI report, it was not just going to be that simple that...
The executive director of Iyoko, Mamiya Tiwa-Adodankwa, joined the public's part and strongly denied accusation leveled against it by the Office of the Special Prosecutor concerning its alleged reluctance to investigate former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah.
You need evidence to prove criminal offense. It's not about people saying it. Saying that somebody is corrupt, there's so much corruption, that one doesn't solve any problem. Whatever that we would have done had already been directed at the CID to do. We cannot continue to be doing fishing. It's like we don't even know what you are looking for. You just go about looking for something that you yourself, you are not even sure. So what I'm going to do is that with the AG's advice, I will send the docket that we received from the OSP to him, that there's nothing for us to do.
But the OSP will not allow the comments to go without a response. The office debunked claims that Iyoko is yet to return the docket on the former minister to them. According to the Director of Strategy, Research and Communications at the OSP, Samuel Appiah-Darko, Iyoko had returned the docket long ago. He said the OSP was therefore surprised to hear the Executive Director of Iyoko claiming that her office is yet to send the docket to the OSP.
Meanwhile, some anti-corruption agencies are unhappy with the lack of cooperation between the public agencies set up to work in the public's interest. Former Auditor General Daniel Domilevo says the three entities are not doing the public any good with their disagreement.
I disagree with the three institutions, to be honest with you. First and foremost, OSP. I don't think the investigation done by OSP was money funded and money from their pockets. It was public funds. And they were doing the investigations in the public interest. So whatever information is available to them, which can aid the Iyoko office to do their work, I think they should have made that available. That said, I think given the profile of the person involved and the national interest in this case, I don't think the non-availability or the non-release of that information to Iyoko should be a ground to say that because of that, we are discontinuing the case. My biggest disappointment comes from the Attorney General. By virtue of the constitutional mandate he has, more or less, all these institutions fall under him. Instead of him writing a letter to say, look, you didn't get information from this person, so discontinue this. I thought he should have called OSP and called Madam Tiwa and say, look, guys, you are working in the public interest. What information do you need from OSP? OSP, what stops you from providing this information? Please go ahead. He should have mediated and...
Now, joining us is the convener for the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Edem Senano, and grateful to you, Edem, for joining us. What do you make of this therefore between these agencies that have to fight against corruption, in the words of the former Auditor General, in the interest of the public?
Well, yes, it's unfortunate we find ourselves where we are. And indeed, it would have been helpful for the AG to call the parties to the table and resolve this. The public pushing doesn't help any of us. Having said that, for those of us who follow the current transfer from US to Iyoko back with, we have a clear position that Iyoko has done the investigation ought to have done to arrive at the conclusion the money laundering issue that was raising for attention. The evidence Iyoko is asking for is evidence that Iyoko itself ought to have investigated. Our understanding from the West is that the witness statements that they gave to the Iyoko are high-quality witness statements that provide the information on the disconnect between the money that they found on Madame Cecilia Dapaah and her official income, which is supposed to be what must raise the red flag and trigger investigation by Iyoko. So we are not clear in our minds why Iyoko is saying they didn't have enough information. And all of us do know that hundreds and thousands of dollars were found, which have not yet been explained. So we need, as citizens, an explanation as to the source of these monies. And one way or another, the agencies must work to provide that answer.
Okay. If that's the case, then what do you think is at play here?
I think that there's a sense in which people are avoiding actually doing the investigation on the money laundering. Because I think that even now, if they did a review of the witness statement, they will find that there's enough information there for the investigation to proceed. In any case, on a strict reading of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Section 1.3, IOCO ought to do the investigation and then get back to the people of this country.
Okay.
So I think that at the moment, perhaps the AG is the best place to call the parties to the table and say, what is the evidence available? What can we do to proceed? Otherwise, the only risk that you get a new government, and by all means, this is not statute bad. They will get into this issue, and by all means, they will find problem.
All right. Thank you so much, Adam Stranano, for joining us here. Now, the former Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Inusaf Husseini, says the development clearly shows a broken system.
What is happening is clearly a symptom of a broken system, a dysfunctional system, a system that is not willing to communicate to each other, a system that is putting personal idiosyncratic interests above the national interest. And we don't fight corruption in silos. And you don't fight a tough war when you are fighting corruption. You collaborate to throw some light on corrupt activity. So for me, as much as the Office of the Special Prosecutor failed, refused, or neglected to find the unlawful activity, which is called a predicate offense, in the monies that was found at the past home, and the fact that he divulged himself of responsibility of investigating the source and only transferred the docket to IOCO is worrying, is disturbing.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Journalists Association is expressing disagreement with the Office of the Special Prosecutor over the assertion that some journalists are financially induced to unduly attack the works of the OSP. Speaking at an event yesterday, Director of Strategy, Research and Communications at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Sami Dakon, alleged that some influential persons are behind sponsored attacks by individuals, including some journalists on the works of the OSP. However, President of the GJA, Albert Jumfo, is defending the media.
The media has been very proactive in recent times, and to correct him, I don't think that it's whatever you put out there is what we put across. So should we say that whenever the media publish news or maybe communicate positive news about the OSP recently was commended, especially in the case of Cecilia Dapa, when they actually stepped in when no one was expecting them, because Cecilia Dapa was a minister of state for that matter under the current administration. But for the activeness and how they even stepped into the matter, the media commended them. Should we say that he paid the media to do that? We are saying that yes, under the economic indicator, the media tempted to be influenced. But it doesn't mean that the media is under influence. What we are saying is that we ought to now look at ways of improving the working conditions of journalists, improving the lives of journalists, so that at least such temptations would not even suffice. So what the OSP is saying, the comment is making, trying to compromise or trying to indict the media being compromised, we disagree. What is the case? Is it a lie that Attorney General had said that he didn't clear Cecilia Dapa, and that it was the OSP who did?
But the OSP says it didn't. It did not do that. And there's prima facie evidence it submitted to IOCO. IOCO should have investigated. Not you are presented with a set of facts, or at least the tip of the iceberg, you are supposed to investigate, not now ask whether you should even commence investigation.
So what that
was the point of the OSP.
Of course, I think that, yes, I understand the OSP, but then the Yoko boss has also spoken. We don't want to dive into the politicking, but I think that regardless, we will continue to caution journalists to be very circumspect and to discharge our work professionally. But I would not also agree with him saying that some journalists usually compromise. If you said they are compromised, then you come out and then tease out where the compromise is coming from.
Away from that, the Ghana Health Service has ruled out medical complications as reason for the withdrawal of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines from the market. Latest reports suggest that AstraZeneca has voluntarily withdrawn its licenses to produce and distribute the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine across Europe. But some have attributed the decision to concerns over alleged health complications associated with the vaccine since its inception in 2021. Speaking to the media after a door-to-door vaccination campaign today, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, says the withdrawal decision is due to economic reasons. There is more in the following report.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, in the company of some members of the service, told some health centers in the Ghana East municipality as part of the Child Health Nutrition Week. They visited the Abukubi Health Center, Agboba Outreach Center, and Taifa Burkina community for inspection. One thing was prevalent. Most mothers are barely taking note of their children's health.
We are also noticing that from my interaction with the parents is that they are really not even taking note, reading or getting cognizance with the child health, the child maternal and child health record book, which has all the information which would educate the mother whether their child is doing well or not, educating them on what food to give, when to give it, the counseling that they are needed, the vaccination times and all those things. So we believe that that's an area that we need to do some community engagement and education for people, that the book is for them, it's not for the facility, it's for the parent and it's for the child. And that whatever we are documenting, they should track and to make sure ask questions so that they can see that their children are growing well.
He reiterated that COVID is still lurking around, admonishing Ghanaians to get vaccinated while admitting that access to the vaccination is a challenge.
The COVID is not gone as it is, and there are times that you may have a little bump and nobody knows when the bump will stop. And so we want to encourage more people that it is safe and that they should come for the vaccination to protect themselves and protect their loved ones. So far, we've had about 57% of the population fully vaccinated. About 71% have taken one, if not taken the rest. That means that we still have a large population to cover. What we have also learned is that, yes, access is a problem. People have needs. They may want to, but they don't have the time to leave their market stalls, meet their tomatoes, leave their trotros to go and for it. And that's why, apart from going to having them at our facilities, we are moving to where people congregate: homes, workplaces, churches, marketplaces, lorry parks, so that we can ensure that those, and we have noticed that when we bring it to them, you could see that that perceived hesitancy is not there.
Dr. Kumar-Boaji also revealed the reason for the withdrawal of the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine from the market was essentially for commercial reasons.
They are withdrawing for commercial reasons, in the sense that they are superior, probably, vaccines in the market. And so if you're in a market that you may not be able to compete, why produce something when others will go for some other brand? And for me, that is the message I get from the decision. It's not because it's dangerous, it's simply because, all vaccines have side effects, one way or the other. But their decision is that, look, if I'm selling something and someone brings in a more superior brand into the market and probably even cheaper, why do I stay in the market? If I produce, who's going to use? And I think that's there. And as a company, they have the right to do that.
Dr. Ijabeng, a rep from the World Health Organization, emphasized the need for people to take the full COVID vaccination, since the viruses have the tendency of mutating. Generally, the GHS believes health personnel undertaking the vaccination program are doing well, while advocating for the people to receive the vaccines.
Now let's do more on this because the Borno East Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adumakoboating, has made an appeal to parents to take advantage of the African Vaccination and Child Health Promotion Week to ensure that children up to 2 years old receive the right doses of vaccines required to protect them against vaccine-preventable diseases. He made this call in Kintampo, where he noted that the platform serves as a mop-up for people who missed the various vaccination opportunities in the past. And Sabit has more.
The goal of the African Vaccination Week is simple yet profound. The week focuses on emphasizing the importance of protecting every person's right from vaccine-preventable diseases by strengthening immunization programs across the African region. Borno East Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adumakoboating, highlighted that the aim of the celebrations is to keep immunizations high on national and regional agenda towards delivering life-saving interventions for happier and healthier communities.
Why the African Vaccination Week? It's important we do this because when we put a week to this, the publicity is really, really hard. And this, we are able to capture some of the mothers who are not able to bring their children during the routine things. And we have learned this over and over, especially even with COVID vaccines.
Dr. Fred Adumakoboating was, however, quick to note that the purpose of the week-long celebrations was also to serve as a mop-up exercise for people who genuinely or deliberately missed the various vaccination exercises to provide them with another opportunity to be captured.
It's a form of a mop-up with all these reasons. And in fact, some people genuinely may miss, or some people deliberately may miss. This week is supposed to champion, is supposed to make, we are supposed to publicize it in such a way that everybody will have the opportunity to have it.
The theme for this year's African Vaccination Week is Vaccinated Communities, Healthy Communities, and there are calls upon political leaders and policy makers to prioritize immunization, increase domestic funding, and raise awareness about the importance of vaccinations. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Kintampo.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We will take a quick break. When we return, we have more news for you. Please do stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, let's do some politics now. The opposition NDC has accused the governing MPP of busing people from the eastern region to register at Medina as the limited voter registration exercise enters its second day. During a tour of some registration centers by the NDC's running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, the party warned it will respond on its own terms if the trend continues. The following report has more.
The issues that we received, the critical incidents, have got to do with the network challenges, some areas that the Electoral Commission communicated that they were going to have this exercise to us.
The opposition National Democratic Congress is accusing the MPP's parliamentary candidate for Medina constituency of busing people from Achim-Wenchi in the eastern region to register at Medina in an effort to maximize the MPP's votes in the area. During a tour of the Ayawaso West, Wuogon and Medina constituencies by NDC running mate Nana Opoku-Agyeman, constituency secretary of the NDC, Abdul Razak Hussein warned the MPP to desist from such acts or face their wrath.
Medina, both NDC and MPP, we have coexisted peacefully. We have never had any altercation whenever it comes to this kind of exercises. But until just some few days back, we got an intel that the MPP's candidates is busing some individuals precisely from Achim-Wenchi. And all that we would like to send, the message that we would like to send across is, we plead with them. They should remain in their towns and get registered. However, if they decide to go against the laws and come to Medina, we are equally ready for them.
Nana Opoku-Addo, however, blamed the inadequate public education on elections by the Electoral Commission as a major reason for the alleged busing of people from different constituencies to register in another constituency. The former education minister claims most of the people allegedly bussed to Medina do not see the importance of their votes because they have little education about it.
You see, but I also feel that there's something we are missing, and that is consistent public education. It does, or civic education. It shouldn't happen only because we are going to vote. Then they show us how to vote, which is important. But what I'm saying is that why does that happen? For example, to what end? How do you prevent it? How does a person even being buzzed understand that this is not something I should be doing? Who is there to tell that person that this is the process? There are so many things we need to understand. What is the role of the MP? Is the MP's role to make a road? Why do we vote? All these things must come into the discourse so that we as the participants will understand our roles and understand them very well.
The Electoral Commission, through a press release, acknowledged the challenges that characterized the first day of the limited voter registration exercise and promised a smooth process for the duration of the exercise.
Now, flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, says his administration will make the electric vehicle module part of the technical and vocational education and training TVET curriculum if it gets the opportunity to assemble the country's next administration. Addressing a gathering on Wednesday as part of his Bono regional campaign tour, the Vice President touted the current administration's achievement in the TVET space, including making it free and increasing the student population from 60,000 to 159,000. He says his quest for the highest office is to do more for TVET and the general good of the Ghanaian people. Listen.
We have done, we are in the process of putting together the first phase of 32 state-of-the-art TVET institutions. We have revamped 10 technical universities and 13 technical institutes. And so there's so much going on. And we've, in addition, brought in free TVET and increased the number of people in TVET education from 60,000 now to 159,000. So you are seeing, and TVET, and this is also one thing that we are doing, we are bringing in electric vehicles. I went to a company called Solar Taxi in Accra, where they are already assembling electric vehicles in Ghana. Solar Taxi. And they are training people because it's not a complicated system. As you can imagine, the battery is the key in the electric vehicles. They have engineers, and so thankfully it was very interesting. The majority of their engineers were women. The girls were the majority of the engineers at Solar Taxi. And so we want the electric vehicle module to now be included in the TVET curriculum, because we are now moving towards more electric vehicles so that they can then do the teaching there, and you can have apprenticeships at places like Solar Taxi. And
Sister, the Journey's Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with Showbiz. Please stay. All right, so welcome back. Let's do Showbiz now. The big lady herself is in the house. Becky Bex, hi, how you doing?
I'm okay, I'm all right. Everything is okay. We're fine. But Amrado is the first on the list. He is saying that he regrets using insult in his diss songs. According to him, some words used in the songs released were uncalled for.
I do. With some of the words that I said, I do. But I don't regret the whole banter. Whatever happened for my own good and for the opponent as well. But I believe that in the heat of the moment, we don't have enough time to reason through the lyrics before we put it out, because people are waiting for you. And it's back to back to back to back. So sometimes you need to
what are some of the things you regret?
Some of the insults, yeah, in the rap songs, yeah.
Were you insulting people?
Some were way over the bar. Like,
really?
Yeah. But sometimes when
like
people hit you, and then I don't want to. If it's not good, we don't repeat it. You just let it go.
What did you say? What was what this?
I'm right there. This evening, it's a Wednesday. Let's put the spotlight on actor and comedian Clemento Suarez. He is our man for this evening. He's been talking about his journey and upcoming projects that he
in Ghana. Did I say something wrong? I called you legend.
Yeah, I'm too young to be a legend. Magic series running, and so that's what we will keep doing. And I think in June I also have another show. We've been having shows in America. We have upcoming shows in Belgium. A lot of shows. They'll be running on the socials. Yeah.
What would make somebody say that this person is a good comedian?
It depends on the recipient. Whatever the comedian is churning out, if you are able to relate to it and find it funny, that's when you're going to say the person is funny. And so it actually depends on the recipient. You could be the funniest guy in your house. Once you come out, people can say that what you're doing is total rubbish. Yeah, but so it actually depends on the recipient.
Do you have like a best comedian that you look up to?
Yeah, Jackie Chan.
Okay.
Yeah. He's
wasn't expecting that.
Jackie Chan is a great comic actor, so I love him. So I could watch even movies that he's done like 40 years ago just to learn something. So he was an inspiration. Jackie Chan, Bill Cosby, and then in recent times I take a lot of things from all the other comedians, even the young ones coming up, the stand-up comedians and the comic actors. But we have legends like Ejako, Santo, Lewin, Kwakumenu. They are exceptional. They're Kumawood guys. So if you pay attention to them, you can learn a lot. So I do that. Thank you very much.
Young lady, as I enter into the spirits, the realms of the spirit, I can see.
Sorry.
What is the right word for vacation? We're on vacation.
We have giveaway. Brace, before we go, actor Bernard Hill, best known for roles in Titanic and Lord of the Rings. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Brace, that'll be all for Showbiz here on Prime.
Thank you, Becky. And thanks to all the people who watched us.
Yes.
And there's more on myjoyonline.com.
Joy Online is back. I'm so excited.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But at this juncture, we have to give way. So we have giveaway.
Leave Clemento Suarez alone. Yama
business.
Giveaway.
We have giveaway.